Seems that two of our favorite characters within this channel were realizing that people were no longer talking about them. After their infamous and crazy challenges, yeah, everybody discussed it and whatnot, but it was kind of like, okay, what's next? Let's talk about something new, because that's just the nature of social media and the internet, especially nowadays. So what did they do? Magically, now both Bonnie and Lily are pregnant. You've heard that right. They are both pregnant, supposedly, and at the same time. So we're gonna be taking a look at the details of these crazy occurrences, whether they really are pregnant or whether it's just fake for attention, and also the implications. What does this mean of where we stand as a society nowadays? And much more. So hi guys and welcome back. I'd like to ask you to support my channel by subscribing, pressing the notification bells, also giving this video a like and sharing your comments. Let's get into it. It all started because Bonnie shared on her social media that she was having #cravings. She shared to the world how she was starting to eat all these weird combination of things, eating pickles with chocolate syrup with the #cravings, so that people would start talking about whether she could be potentially pregnant. But of course, Lily could not bear that her rival was getting all of this attention, and she too decided to be pregnant. And all of a sudden she pops up with this little cute baby bump, which some people are saying that could be AI generated or it could be prosthetics. But of course she swears it's real, even though fans or followers, I don't know if this woman has fans, I guess, have been saying that she was literally skinny like 12 hours ago, which indeed seems to be true, because if you visit her Twitter, you see her announcing her pregnancy with the positive test, like those couldn't be faked, and then her below with a picture that of course I will not show and saying this very disgusting thing, but in the picture below, she definitely does not have a baby bump. And of course, if she were to actually be pregnant right now, which I'll discuss my opinion on this later, this would mean that when she starred in that amazing documentary that left us all traumatized of the 100 men, she would have already been pregnant. Yikes. And of course everybody's jumping to give their opinion regarding this topic, and Bonnie has said the following regarding whether her child will be bullied or not in school.
My child will not get bullied at school because it's got 1,057 dads.
I mean, if these two were actually to be pregnant, this is all the bank that paternity clinics would be cashing in, just going through racks and racks of money trying to figure out who is the father. But not to worry, Lily has also spoken about her future children in this podcast.
Pick my kids up from school. I do as much to protect my kids as possible.
But do you realise that the things you're doing now, you won't be able to protect them?
I mean, when I have kids, the thing is though, like I said, I'm going to do what I want now. That I'm not going to live for the kids I haven't had yet, and the life that I haven't lived. So I'll do what I want now. But obviously I put like plans in place, have nannies for my kids. I don't want to pick my kids up from school, so like they're...
Why? Because of this?
Yeah, I don't...
Okay, so that's interesting. You actually thought about stuff like that?
Yeah, like getting nannies to pick them up.
So you've already in your head saying, I won't be public.
I love how she thinks she's so smart. She's like, yeah, like getting nannies to pick them up. I've thought about it.
I won't be out in public, kind of. With,
and I won't be putting my kids on social media and stuff like that.
That's a bit of a sad thing in a way, because picking up your child from school is actually a magical thing.
It's not a bit long.
It's not. It depends how you look at it. Not for me. I try and do it as much as possible.
Yeah.
It's like a magical thing, and they're happy to see you, except for you.
So what this woman is saying is completely absurd. She really pretends to go ahead and have kids, and for nobody to ever find out that these are her kids. And she thinks that by not taking them herself to school, by having nannies do this job, then she will be fine. Her kids will be fine. No one will ever find out. Of course, this is super ridiculous. Of course, everyone will absolutely know that these kids are hers. I mean, parents are supposed to go to school for parents' conferences. Their kids will at some point want to bring friends over, unless she does this crazy lifestyle where no one will ever possibly find out that the kids are hers, because she will literally not be in the kids' lives at all. And it might be just what she's planning, to be honest. But at that point, why have kids to begin with? If you're gonna be that detached from them so that no one ever finds out that you are their mother, why have kids? But of course, the real question is, why have kids if you do a job like this? Because you're setting them up for failure from the beginning. And what kind of life of shame and frustration and isolation are your kids going to have when their mom is constantly hiding herself so that no one can see that those are her kids? Like, imagine the poor child not knowing what's going on. He doesn't understand the world. He doesn't know that his mom's job is eggs and that people will judge them if they find out. So he's probably like, mommy, why don't you ever come to school with me? Mommy, why can't I ever bring friends over? Till he ends up finding out. And we all know the way he'll find out will be a very, very cruel way. Somebody will show him a video and then all will make sense, and that's when that kid's life will be scarred for the rest of his life. So of course, I think it's extremely selfish if you do this kind of job to have kids. I think it's a choice that you should make. If you're going to dedicate yourself to this kind of degenerate lifestyle, then just don't have children. Make that choice. You want to be a degenerate for money, status, and fame. Of course, that's, your freedom to choose that, but please don't bring innocent kids into this, because they will get bullied to no avail. Unless, of course, you live your life with such care that at that point you're not living your life at all, or he is not living a life with his mother at all. Let's, of course, forget the fact that so many women would kill to have an opportunity to have their own biological kids and often can't, or struggle tremendously. And these women are just completely mocking motherhood and pregnancy, which, of course, it's not that I expect any much more from them, but it is important to talk about that. This is actually not at all surprising, considering that pregnancy back in the day used to be such a sacred thing. I mean, it's literally the way that you bring life to the world. Of course it's sacred. Of course it's something that should be considered as precious and valued and even revered, but we cannot expect these kind of people to have respect for anything. Now onto the $1 million question. Are these two faking their pregnancy or not? I believe, like I'm sure you guys believe, that of course this is all publicity stunts. Of course they're faking it. There's absolutely no way that neither of them are pregnant. And if one of them were to be pregnant, it would be Lily, because if we recall, Lily had actually no clue as to how STDs are transmitted. She revealed this in that documentary. She's really pretty clueless about things like protection and the things that can happen when you don't use protection. So it wouldn't surprise me if she's the kind of person that would do a job like this and take on challenges like these, and then also not know enough about protection to then get pregnant from a random man. However, I do think it's fake. I mean, just by logistics, there's no way that she was skinny and then the next day she actually has this baby bump, unless she's been hiding it this whole time, a la Kylie Jenner, and she had pictures from she was thinner to lie to people. But yeah, I do think it's fake. And regarding Bonnie, there's absolutely no way that woman is pregnant, and the reason being is that if there's somebody who's cold on this planet, like cold, like that blue color behind me, it's Bonnie. There's like no maternal instinct or desire to be a mother within that woman whatsoever. And she is the kind of person that would know about protection and would be calculated enough to not get pregnant in a business like this, and who would prioritize her millions and her fame and her financial comfort over pregnancy any day. To the point that if she did were to get pregnant as some sort of accident, which again, I don't know how that accident could take place given that you do this kind of work, like that kind of protection should be the main priority. But let's pretend that some kind of accident did take place. She's the kind of person that there's absolutely no way on earth that she would actually allow that pregnancy to take place. To lose all her millions and comfort and status for a pregnancy, that's not Bonnie. So I definitely think that these two are just doing anything at this point to remain relevant and for people to talk about them. And it also would not surprise me if there actually are friends behind the scenes. They just pretend to be rivals, but behind it all, they're friends who are planning and conning to do this together to get more and more notoriety. And I just pray to God that they do change their minds and never bring children into the world, because can you imagine what kind of child could come from a woman of this sort, and possibly the kind of man that would stand in line to sleep with one of these women? He's doomed from the start, poor thing. And then to be raised with a mother who is ashamed from her job. Clearly they pretend, there's nothing wrong with this job, but they're clearly ashamed from it. Otherwise they would just show up with their kids like any other normal job. So to grow up with this mother and then also be bullied at school when they do find out what your mom does, they would just doom the poor thing from the very start. And I pray to God they just change their minds and don't bring any kids into this mess. And guys, when the podcaster was telling Lily how one of the things that he enjoys the most is actually dropping off his kids to school, and I bet that's something that most parents really do enjoy. And it's so sad, just the way he says it, to have to live a life where you can't even do that because of the kind of job you do. And I really want to ask, is this something that is actually worth millions of dollars? I mean, I get it, being a millionaire must be cool and all, I'm sure it's great in fact, but at what cost? At the cost of perpetual loneliness? I mean, no man in his right mind will ever want to form a family with these women. They're going to ruin any kids' lives that they bring into the world. Their family clearly doesn't love them because their family literally helps them with their business. Like, they're just taking advantage of them. No family that loves you would ever be a part of any of this. Their friends probably also take advantage of them because they're rich and dumb. It sounds like a very, very lonely life. Like, sure, at first you're young, you're attractive, you have fame for whatever it is, and you have all this money, but I'm sure that has to get old after a while, especially when your life has zero substance and there are 0 people in your life who you can actually count on. And to what extent are these people willing to go, or people on social media nowadays, just to gain recognition and money? It seems like they're willing to put their own health at risk, other people's health at risk, and completely waste any dignity they could have had just for likes. I mean, likes nowadays, to have likes nowadays is absolutely the most important thing, right? To these people anyway. It really seems like likes have become this metric of your worth as a human, and the more likes you have, regardless of for what reason the likes are, as in this case, you have likes for being a complete moron, doesn't matter. The more likes you have, the worthier you are, at least in the head of all these people. And they're willing to do whatever it takes. And of course, the ones that have just as much responsibility as these women are all the simps that are paying their lifestyle, that are funding their lifestyle for them to become millionaires doing what they do. I also find it very interesting that Lily tells the podcaster that she's living for now. She's not going to live for kids that she hasn't had yet. And I know it's a lot to ask of people, especially in the society that we're in, that sometimes it feels like we're all doomed, but it would be really, really, really amazing if we could all act, especially those of us that do want kids in the future or that do have kids already. It would be amazing if we could all act in a way that would make our kids proud. Do you know what I mean? It's good to think from now, like, is this something that my kids would be proud of? Is this something that my kids could learn from? Or am I just going to be someone that's going to perpetuate bad habits, bad behavior in general, and just bring even more negativity and toxicity into the world? Because that's what happened with these kids, you know, with these 2 girls who at the end of the day, you kind of have to pity them. Their parents didn't love them, clearly, because they were helping them in this business. Their parents didn't teach them any sort of value or any sort of love, because if they did, they wouldn't be doing all these crazy things for the world to give them likes on social media for. So clearly their parents also did that whole mentality of, oh, well, I'm living my life for now and I don't really care about the kids that I'll have in the future. I'll see that then. And look how their 2 daughters turned out. And sadly, we know that if they were to have kids, or people like them were to have kids, the results, unless there's like an absolute miracle, would not be much different. So I'll leave it at that for you guys. And I do have some questions that I'd love to hear your answers. First, do you think this is true at all? Or do you think they're just faking it? And why? Should people like this have kids at all? Should they be allowed to have kids? Is it recommended that they have kids? And at what point is social media going to end up? Where's the direction of this all? Like, where are creators, especially these kind of blue page creators, going to end up at this rate? People in general nowadays, that it seems like they would do absolutely anything for just a few likes. So I'd love to hear your answers in the comment section. Give me your likes, subscribe, and I will see you very soon.